Happy Friday, boys and girls. My name is Jeffery Scott Mitchell, coming to you live on Memorex from the default location, default route. Feeling pretty good today. Excuse me. Still got a lot of post-nasal drip, I think that's what you call it. I don't know where all this mucus is coming from. Big, thick stuff, too. And it just spit it out. It's clear. I'm on an antibiotic for 7 days. Tomorrow will be the last day. I should finish that up. She also, I believe, has me on a decongestant. I think it's Guest or something like that. Take those every 6 hours, which is 4 times a day, which no matter how you do it, it's gonna have you up in the middle of the night, supposedly to take a pill. So I just leave them by the nightstand. 6 a.m. get it. It's like 12-6, 12-6, 12-6. And the one I'm supposed to, this antibiotic I take 2 a day, take it at the 12s. And the other one, 12-6, 12-6. But it seems to be working. Definitely feels clear. My nose, I had the pain or soreness or irritation in my sinuses and nasal cavity, if that's what you could call it, yesterday. Woke up with it kind of bad enough for me to take 2 CVS knockoff Excedrin headache relief pills, knocked that right out. But I haven't really had the pain like it was before, how I got used to it, in a while since I started taking the antibiotic and decongestant. I feel better. One of the things that I was thinking that I feel better, so when I go on these walks now, I'm getting back home a lot sooner, which means I'm probably naturally walking faster, which is something that I would like to touch upon. At one time, and my daughter did too, she wanted to walk at a pace. You can get these pace things that kick, tick, 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 tick like a metronome, you know, the way you try to maintain your speed walking. I realized that over time, your speed picks up naturally. You just gotta keep walking. Your walking gets stronger and faster, and then next thing you know, you say, wow, I walked that whole thing. You know, it's really gradual. Then you just start to notice that, you know, you're doing the same thing, you're not doing anything different, but your pace naturally increases. So that's one thing I think I realized happened last few days. It's only been a week, number one. It's only been a week. But I can say this, my sinuses and my air passages are clear. It's clear and effortless. They do feel a little bit sensitive to the air when I breathe in it, but it's not the pain and irritation that I was getting when my sinus problem happens. So that feels good. And also, I've been taking my blood pressure and it's been reading high. I think a couple times it didn't read high, and then it started reading high again. Then I go to the doctor and they take it and they say it's fine. So now they got me questioning my blood pressure machine, which, you know, they say after 2 or 3 years go bad anyway. So might be time for a new one. Or I might go take that one into the doctor and, you know, do a comparison. Or I just might go buy another one tonight. And if it compares to the one I got, take it back. So we'll look at it in that way. So I feel good, I really do. Since my blood pressure was high, you know, and I was like feeling that kind of way about a week or so ago where it got so bad, like I said, I had to go to the doctor. So I gotta go to the doctor to get this checked. Then I realized I hadn't had a checkup in a long. So I said, yeah, let me do a checkup. Let me tell you about this. did a physical. All the blood seemed to come back okay. Cholesterol, you know, all that. But my A1C is like right at the number. 5.7 or higher is diabetes. I'm like right at 5.7. And I think I've been that way for a while. It's not the first time I've been told that. And like I said, when I went to the doctor, they took my blood pressure. And she said it was fine. So that, you know, makes me question my blood pressure machine. Dude in the wheelchair started walking when I walked. I walked when the light was still red, not to walk, because I saw opening of traffic. Of course, I'm walking a lot faster than he is. So, hope he make it. I hope he makes it. I see him out here a bunch. So, that's that, and put away all the salt. Trying to go very low on salt. Got a whole cupboard shelf full of my non-salt products that I use, and looking online to make no salt spices, and might even go to Whole Foods, and because they have a better selection of low sodium stuff. I think they even got like a lemon pepper, a no sodium lemon pepper. And that's what I'm talking about. We could pull that one off and it say something. Also, they say to use paprika and cayenne pepper. So I might, you know, pick up some of that. Other than, you know, your onion powder, garlic powder, pepper. Cumin, they said. And I made chicken yesterday. I was just in the mood for it. It was Thursday, it wasn't a celebrate day. Like Friday is a celebrate day. Or like a celebratory day. It's weekend. You know, I like to set up and do something special for myself, with myself. But I just wanted some chicken yesterday. Like I said, I was walking and I got back home so super early. I was walking and I got home like early. I said, I got enough time to go to Rouse. So I went to Rouse and looked around for some low sodium stuff, which I couldn't find none. I was kind of squeezed on time. But I got some chicken thighs. Brought them babies home, seasoned them up, no salt. I put a little bit of new salt on it, which is like a salt substitute that has a weird aftertaste or a weird taste to it. But you can hide that weird taste with other spices and stuff. And you get that salt kind of burn, you know, with the aftertaste hidden. So I've been doing that, and I've, you know, definitely feeling better, more energy. But the big thing, well, maybe the big thing is, and I didn't want to say, and I probably kind of teased it, is that I quit the Black and Miles. It's been over a week, and I didn't want to say anything. See, I can keep a secret. I ain't got to tell everybody all my business, even though I tried to and probably wanted to. But I wanted to get a certain amount of time under me, for whatever reason, just to make it special, make it dramatic. You know, I don't think I was ever in a position or a mindset to go and, you know, get some Black and Miles or to break it. And I knew I kind of wasn't going to be. But I still wanted to, you know, keep it to myself and try to make something out of it, you know. So it's been over a week. Last Wednesday was my last one. I even took a picture of the butt that I put out in the tip in the ashtray. And I got up next morning, cleaned out the ashtray, put all the stuff away, the ashtray away, the lighters away, and you know, all that ceremoniously. And it's been over a week and I feel good. Now I don't know, so between the medication and the maybe no salt and the quitting the black and miles, all the stuff I knew I needed to do. This is nothing, no surprise, this is stuff I know I needed to do. You know, so, and it just got to the point where my head was hurting so much. And I was getting pain. You know, like if I bend over or cough, it's like if I cough, I put pressure on a certain part of my head and the pain comes. And it just got to be to the point where I cough, it would hurt. You know, like at the top of my neck, bottom of my skull. Or like up at the top of the back of my head. It's like, oh my God, it's gotta stop. And also, smoking the black and miles, as soon as I get off work, changes my metabolism to where, you know, you just, and this one, it don't really have the energy, immediate energy or anything. Just be like, and that's kind of what you maybe want it to do in moderation and in a controlled way. But because of my personality, it's all or nothing. So I got to go with the nothing. I feel good. I feel good. Went out. A good way to start the year, or the end of the year, I guess, technically. If I was 2025, I'd say, no. This ain't 2026 shit. This is 2025. This is a good way to end the year. And not only that, Mr. Scale told me 191.0 today. There's a chance that, a very good chance that I'll be 189 point something. Then when I go back and get on the scale, I should be in the 180s. We'll see what the weekend is gonna provide, if I put some on or not. And then Christmas is next week, so that's gonna be some eating and some salt, because I got a ham. And I'm gonna cook it. I'm gonna cook it the way they say. But, and then I'm gonna maybe a spiral cut, I hope. And then I'll take the pieces and put it in the pan with the glaze and some brown sugar and water, and let it get kind of real sweet. And I may or may not put it in the oven to get it crispy, even though we all like it a little bit crispy. You know, I said that I made it like white people. It was all soft and, you know, no burn on it, no char. Real tender, if that's the word. Now I think I want a little bit of char on it. A little bit of burn. Give it a little bit more texture. So we'll go with that. And I think people gonna make macaroni and cheese, et cetera, et cetera. But when we do it, I guess you can call us the Mitchells. Being me, my sister, my mother, and my niece. We, Mitchells, the Mitchells I grew up with or know are more conservative. More conservative. I've seen parts of my family where, you know, the scale goes the other way. We're really exuberant, emotional, party hard, play hard, drink, party, obnoxious, like, I don't want to say down home, but just Negroes. And they're loud and whereas all the Mitchells got degrees. We all got degrees. I don't know what that means anything, or what that means or anything. I just know that we in that house, me, my niece, my sister, my mother, we all got degrees. Hell, 2 of them got master's degrees. And my degree is from DeVry, so it's still a bachelor's degree, damn it. That's one way you can look at it. Whereas it could be loosely stated that the family ain't no degrees east of the Mississippi. I was like this, I told my daughter, I said, yeah, if she gotta go to college, she gotta get a degree. I said, at least get 1 degree east of the Mississippi. So, that's that. So it's more conservative, and we're kind of more, less, let's say emotional, or but all that I love you and touchy stuff. Well, all the kids come, every time the kids come in the house, they got to go around and tell all the adults and hug all the adults. Blah blah. And religious, oh my God, saying prayers. Even though my mother does try to keep up the tradition. I don't know if I think she believes in a higher power. Probably not the traditional God of the main religions, or not even religion. She probably believes in God and not religion. Because she'll signify and give praise to a higher power, the higher power, in fact. But in a non-so, thank you, Jesus, none of that. Thank you, Jesus, oh Jesus. Oh Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Not like that. So, I remember I went back and got my degree. Probably, I told the story before, I'm sure. Got laid off in 1995. Packed my shit up, was out of there in 15 minutes after being there for like 7 or 8 years. I knew it was coming. Had about 15,000 in my 401k. And I thought that was too much money. I thought that was, a lot of money back then. Went home, figured out a plan where I didn't have to work for a year. Went to 2 schools, worked unemployment, worked this, worked that. Got formal training in computer networking and a bachelor's degree. Graduated, magna cum laude. Should have been straight A's 4.0, but I messed up one class. I didn't really mess up. I just didn't. I got a B. I think I got a B on one semester. Yep, and that's the history. It was my first computer job. I worked at Cyber Media, and a couple other places, doing, very elementary, entry-level computer stuff. And then I can't remember how it went. I can make it, but I'm tired. But I'm not tired, I was like, I forget how it went, but I ended up at Artists and Entertainment. I was working at JPL first. I got a gig at JPL. It was government. It wasn't for me at all. It was my dream job to work at JPL. That was just my dream job. But no, to work for JPL was my dream organization. The job I had wasn't. They was doing antiquated CC mail, and it's like they had this one group who, they was just like old and antiquated and behind the times, and they were just there, you could tell. They probably served a purpose and did this and did that, but I went in there and I was young, I was ready to just change things and whip things up. And one time I wrote a batch file to add users to the email database, and I showed one of the people working there that I could add users to the email database just by hitting one button and putting in their name, blah, blah, blah. You should have seen the look on his face. You should have seen the look on his face. And I knew it too. And that back then I was that guy. I was that, see that? I was that guy, I was aggressive like that. Just like the young kids coming in to where I work at are aggressive like that. With all their energy, and they grew up with computers. They grew up with this technology. So they know all the tricks and tools and this and that. And they're hungry and aggressive. And they're young. One of my favorite lines is, I tell the one I think may be most promising, or the one that I really think is out here to do something. I said, man, I was doing that. I was you before you was born. So I was doing that before you was born, dog. I was trying to be that guy literally before you were born. And so now, and I have to probably say now, with my accomplishments inside and outside of work, and all the companies I work for, the places I've traveled, my life is, I don't want to say fulfilled, because that sounds like the end, but overall, as far as my work history and career, I'm happy about that, very happy about it. Very happy to have worked the places I worked, entertainment, Blair Witch Project, Artist Entertainment, JPL, just to get to see what that was like. You know, I even worked a day or two, a few days at Universal Music, largest music company in the world. I saw Casablanca. I was inside Casablanca. I worked at MySpace for a couple of weeks after they had shut down. The one thing about MySpace, dude was like, take a computer, take one. They would just get rid of stuff. Take a couple of them, take them home. I was like, no. You know, I didn't know. Worked with the government a couple times, contractor. You know, I did that and traveled to Europe. I've had an impact on my beliefs, atheism. I was a proponent of, and felt that atheists and non-believers weren't getting enough respect. And for the video on YouTube, it took off. I used to go to rallies. I used to participate in the conventions they had. And then when it got to a point, I think one time Obama in his speech said non-believers. I was like, yeah. But that was just part of a whole movement to where atheism was in the news, it was recognized. And that's all I wanted. And then, once I got there, I was like, cool. People still wanted to fight the fight and do this and do that. And I appreciate and applaud them. But I'm like, hey, we won. We're there. As far as I'm concerned, we won. We're just acknowledged. That's all I want. I don't want special treatment. I don't want this or that. You know, I just want it to be acknowledged, and we are. But then there's also the Freedom from Religion Foundation and other organizations like that I appreciate, who, according to the law and judiciously, are out there, a watchdog organization, making sure government doesn't cross over too much into religion and the separation of state and religion, however you say, religion and state. I forget how it goes. Separation of, you know, church and state. Yeah, I think it's church and state and all that. And even when I go back home and my ex-wife be, you know, teaching granddaughter the prayers and this and that, and have her go through the little mantras and stuff, it don't bother me, because I know. I already know. I already know that child's gonna grow up with all the information in the world in her hand, and she'll be able to make a decision. And no matter how much indoctrination there is, it's gonna go against the information that's out there. That's if granddaughter or anybody wants to venture out into a bigger, broader, more diverse world, where you're gonna meet people who don't believe it like you do. You're gonna find out that there's more Buddhists and Hindus in the world than Christians. That everybody don't believe in Christ. There's different gods. There's people even debating within the Christian organization what God is and what God ain't. There's a lot of talk and dialogue, which should lead to at least a little bit of skepticism, or maybe even eventually disbelief. Because to me, it just didn't make any sense. It just didn't make any sense. And with Rob Reiner passing, or being murdered, I've said this before, Michael Meathead Stivic, all in the family, was the first atheist that I ever became aware of. And it's almost to the point that where I can almost honestly say that before him, I didn't even know it was possible not to believe in God. I just thought you just had to believe in God. I never even thought that there were other people out there, and atheism was already an established thing. I remember that. He was liberal and left and, you know, all that part, and back then I was a little bit liberal and left. And I'm going to come to California, love the hippie girls, love that vibe, crystals, and just that whole vibe of that, you know, softer, gentler kind of understanding. That was my thing. I was into that. I was in the Occupy movement. Hanging around all of them dirty feet white girls with the dreadlock looking hair, the braids, with flowers, and not so much the tattoos, but, you know, into their Whole Foods and eating this and that, and most of them was homeless. This free love, free everything, you know, to a degree. But I grew out of that. I grew out of that as I wasn't getting anything back from it. I kind of don't want to go down that road, but it was kind of like, it was at the Occupy movement one time. Now, granted, all these people, hey, you gonna bite me? Hey, you the other one? You know, I'm sitting there. The police is on, like I said, most of them ain't in the best mental health. You know, there's a lot of people in there who just have mental issues and homeless and just want to hang out, blah, 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 blah. But from what I saw, one time, the story I like to tell is that, you know, the police was sitting over there eating donuts and playing cards. And the people in the camp was terrified that these police were attacking them and going to take them and do all that. Police were going to attack them and just, you know, beat them up or whatever. They gotta come get us, look at them, they beat me. You know, they were just overly paranoid. And I was like, now this might have been one or two cases, and they could have been outlier cases, but it seemed the whole idea of the movement was to be a victim, to focus most of your plan, your mission statement and everything on being a victim and what the victimizer should do for you or to you. And you can almost say that's the same way with black people in the black movement, in the Democratic Party, and identity politics, is to categorize all black people as victims of racism, and they owe you, and you need help, you need assistance, it's not your fault. Where I look around and I see some of the behavior and I'm thinking, yeah, that is your fault. That is your fault. You don't have to do that. And I didn't, you know, I kind of didn't want to. Well, I ain't gonna say I kind of didn't want it. That's probably not true. I trying to find a different way to hold the camera. See, what I try to do is if I stretch it out all the way and grab it in the middle, I can use it to balance. And it's not as heavy. Use it to balance to hold the camera upright. But, and I just realized that, you know, the person I am, I ain't up for asking nobody for nothing. Now, if there's a government program in place, like the one that sent me to school for networking, or unemployment, or welfare, I'm gonna take advantage of it. I ain't talking about that kind of asking. I'm talking about asking with more of a emotional and sympathetic argument. And not a practical one, or a negotiation or a deal, or, you know, what can I do to improve myself? Not so much what you gonna do for me, how can you help me? Not more like, I just need some assistance. I got a plan. I just need this and this and this. I don't need for you to come in here and fix my problems, figure it out. Do this, do that. And it seems to me that during the George Floyd time, but everybody agrees that, I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people agree that it did get out of hand during COVID and George Floyd. It was like a perfect storm to where You know, you got a bunch of people sitting around at home, and this shocking video comes in. Media takes off with it. Democrats take off with it. Black Lives Matter, the whole thing. Ta-Nehisi Coates writes a book that exploded white guilt to dangerous levels. Because I think what black people need, what everybody needs, is honest criticism. Not to be handicapped or hand out. It's gonna hurt. It's like, you gay? You want equal rights? Well, we're gonna talk shit about you just like we talk about everybody else. You don't get special handling. You wanna be equal? That's equal. This is what we do to each other. Now, put that for the gays. Probably for the black people too. The black people do that to themselves enough. So you probably can't just, it's a different thing if you look at it that way. Because, and I also say this though, about the black community and black culture, there's some things there that are priceless, beautiful, can't be duplicated. As far as my ethnicity goes, I love being black. I love what being black, quote unquote, means, or maybe not means, but some of the cultural aspects of being black, I think are the greatest in the planet. I'm definitely a racist. I believe different races do different things better. But I'm probably also a humanist, if I can say it, that at the bottom line, we're all equal. But some are more capable, some are better at some things than others. And and though not completely monolithic, see, I just coughed and I felt that pain. It wasn't as bad, but I felt it. And I'm Gary, finish up the antibiotics and the decongestant, and it's still hurting, so I'm probably gonna have to go get a scan, see what's going on, because something's up in there causing problems. It's not just, unless, well, we'll see. You got a couple more days, but I just coughed and felt that little pain, and it's still kind of lingering, because you cough, you jolt it, and it kind of, numbs away, kind of numbs and settles and goes away. And it's like right up on my right nostril, right above my right nostril, like right behind the bridge of my nose. It's definitely a lot better though. Definitely a lot better. I will say that. It's definitely a lot better. But anyway, what was I talking about? Somebody's dressing room. So, we'll prepare for this evening and the weekend. 2 days off, 2 days at work, 2 days off, then work Friday, 2 more days off. So, not only do I get days off in a holiday, I'll be able to hopefully, and it's a good, accumulate PTO hours while getting days off. Because I almost worked a full week this week, but I took 2.5 hours off to watch the game. It's been a struggle for me to work a full week And I think I've, fortunately, unfortunately, accepted that and let it become part of it. Taking off a day a week would be major. But now that I'm feeling better, work is going a lot easier, a lot more tolerable. It's probably not the right word, but something like that. Again, it's not the job, it's not the people, it's not the work, it's me and the condition I'm in to handle the tasks that are put in front of me at a level that maintains my integrity. Even though I say, fuck all this, I don't care, I ain't doing this way, I ain't doing that, I'm just gonna come in and blah, blah. I don't do that. I can't do that. I can't just come in and say, you know, fuck it all. I don't. It's still level integrity. And I feel bad to a degree when I don't maintain that level of professionalism and work. I was just thinking about a situation that happened at work. See, I've been there a long time, right? And people know I'm smart. So when I ask for help, people are like, they look at me like, you know? They look at me like, really? And I be like, yep. That's what my buddy, Art, he been there a long time. He a hard ass, hard worker, thorough, just on top of it. And I submitted something to him, escalated it, and he was like, really? I was like, yep. Then he explained to me, I was like, oh shit. You know how to fix it. I was like, oh shit. And part of it is I didn't want to do it. But I did truly forget. I was like, oh, that's how we do that now? All right. Because basically, the user got a Apple file, Apple Pages file, only Apple apps can open. They needed it converted. And, you know, we don't got no Mac stuff in the organization. So I was like, how do we do this? What's the solution? And it's like, you gotta use your iPhone. Ah, shit. I remember. So I know there's definitely some of that. They be like, man, you've been here longer than all of us. You're smarter than all of us. I said, yeah, but you were level 2. And I've seen people come, get quote unquote promoted to level 2. It's definitely a promotion. On paper, at least. You get more responsibility, I think you get a little bit more money. I'm cool. In fact, I got a coworker who's been a level 1 for 18 years. The word is he reached the maximum pay. He can't get no more money. Can't get no more raises. He reached the maximum pay for his position. I won't do that. No matter, you know, if I stay till 70, I won't hit that. And speaking of staying till 70, I do feel since my health has changed a little bit, or it's quote unquote better, I do feel like I can work longer. It's not as bad. Because some days I would wake up and just could not do it. And it might not be the job, it was me. And I thought it was the job. So the combination of my health getting better, taking those few months off, I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place. Plus I took my foot off the gas. I ain't trying to kill myself working. My numbers are still good. You know, people seem to still be happy with me. My attitude seems to be, you know, right there. And some days I go to work and be like, why are we doing this? This ain't important. But I know it is. I know it is. Or let somebody else do this. This don't excite me. You know, I have those days. I'm sure everybody does. But not like, I hate this place, I can't stand it, I ain't coming back in here ever again. No. Even when I went to work and walked out, it was more, not that I was in physical pain, but it was more about how I felt physically. And like I said, when I do take a day off, it's I don't do nothing. Like I said, I take a day off, I ain't running off the magic mountain or anything. I'm trying to have a good time. It's home, food, usually laying down in the bed. And I didn't recognize that might be a physical problem and not a mental work problem. So, today is Friday. Got 8 hours of work ahead of me, then 2 days off. Looking forward to it. Excited about having the time to myself. I really, really, really get excited about having time to myself. To where I don't have to do nothing if I don't want to. Sit there with all my computers, cameras, and equipment to create shit I desire. It excites me. That's what the work excites me. The Jeffery TV work excites me. And I'm really looking forward to, in a way, I really look forward, I guess, to the day where I can work on it full time, devote my attention to it and really go deep into it and work it out. What is this? There's a police action down here. Looks like they got somebody in cuffs. You don't see that too often. Two cars. Something went down. Looked like an undercover car too. If you can see that. We got somebody. Somebody got. No, that ain't got. That's something else. So, we'll go in today. We'll set up the work laptops, get ready for it. And I gotta do some Christmas shopping. I wanna get people gifts. I gotta do some Christmas shopping. I wanna get the people gifts. I might do that tomorrow. I might actually go out and do some Christmas shopping tomorrow. Because I do wanna get people gifts. I wonder if I'm gonna wrap them or just put them in boxes with bags with paper around them. I ain't gonna wrap them probably. But wrapping is fun. So we'll see. We'll see. You're gonna make it festive. Call my sister, see what the plans are, or if there are already plans. Because we usually spend Christmas Eve together, and I spend Thanksgiving back home with granddaughter. Even though this is home, you say back home, but I lived here twice as long as I lived in Ohio. I've been there 40 years. Left Ohio when I was 20. Came to California. Been here ever since, and that is something that I pretty much take for granted, but every now and then I stop and think about it and realize that I made it out here. And I built something, established myself and built a career. I did it. Everybody can't say they did. Everybody don't make it out here. And I love California. I love the bigness of it, the craziness of it, the notoriety. I say, ain't that like sitting there watching TV? And back east or wherever, and see the building you worked in. Because they shoot out here so much, you know. Up. I know what I said, up. And then they show the Macy's Day Parade. I'm up. I worked there. I worked across the street from there. Radio City Music Hall. Our office is right across the street, next to the Major League Baseball building or something. Had to walk in them big ass skyscrapers, navigate the elevators. It was cool. Walk outside, Radio City Music Hall right there. That's when I worked in the office, and I flew up a day early. I worked in the office, and I flew up a day early. I went and saw Hamilton. See what I mean? As far as my life and career accomplishment. Because growing up, I definitely had desire and an idea of what I wanted to accomplish and experience. And it was a certain thing that I quote unquote had to do. I had to experience. And I was able to accomplish some of those. Like along with the atheism, just getting, feeling accomplished as far as the atheism things go. Also with the P-Funk, my other passion. I feel that I've been recognized. I guess you could put it that way. I've been recognized to satisfy my ego. I don't know if you can put it that way, but I feel like I contribute enough or play a part in it. And as far as P-Funk goes, because P-Funk is so instrumental in my life, and to still have it in my life after all these years. I'm definitely grateful and appreciative. It was beyond appreciative. I can't even call it appreciative. It's beyond just appreciation and gratitude. It's much more significant than just that. So, and the Steelers, my Steelers, go to their games. Not so much acknowledged with them directly as I was with atheism and P-Funk. I'm not like a star when it comes to the Steelers. But I did go to the Super Bowl. I did go to a Super Bowl. And I've been to a playoff game. I go to games, not that I get the notoriety or whatever. And all I got to do is start to participate in the live chats and stuff. My personality will come through. Like after the game, they have live chats and people chime in. And it's been my experience that my interaction is very often noted, probably because of my wit, intellect, and the way I come at certain things. It's definitely enough to get people's attention or reaction. See when I cough right there, I felt the pain. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. And it slowly throbs down to nothing. But it's definitely a lot better. It's definitely a lot better. But it's definitely still there. It's definitely still there, but it's a lot better. Maybe it just takes time. So after I finish this up, I'll write her Send her a message in the portal. My insurance is changing from Blue Cross to Aetna, but they said they take Aetna, so I shouldn't have to switch up. Probably go back, get referred. To somebody or something. I'm thinking if this don't work, surgery, which I ain't scared of. Maybe even looking forward to it. Get this fixed. But maybe it just takes longer. Maybe a week takes longer than a week. Wonder if she'll give me more antibiotics. Stick on the antibiotic, go off the decongestant, whatever. But it's definitely better. I will say that. Definitely better. Well, I think I've reached the end of today's me talking. Me talking 2025-1219. So I get ready for a Friday. Get ready for the weekend. Feeling pretty good about myself, except for that 2.5 hours I took off. And it's supposed to rain next week. And usually right before it rains, I get sinus or allergy activity. So we'll see how that goes. Well, I forgot to spray my nasal spray. I've been forgetting to do my nasal spray. Supposed to do it once a day. Anyway, swinging on y'all 2 times. For me and for the phone. And for every elementary particle that has ever existed in any atom, in this or in any universe that ever was, is, or will be. The totality of it all. A theory of universe. Hypothesis of all as one. My name is Jeffery.